All right, boys and girls, this is lesson 7-4, and I think I'm going to do two parts to this video because I can't get technology to quite work with me, and so I really want to do a camera shot of me because I'm going to give some directions on what to do with some paper, and then I'm probably going to record a second video where then we're going to use these tools to do some problems, okay? And then I'm going to need my smartboard. So the first thing I'm going to need you to do is I'm going to need you to grab at least 2 pieces of just like plain old computer paper. Okay, so if you can just get some plain old paper, it doesn't even have to be, perfect paper. It can be scrap paper as long as like one side is clear because you're going to need to do some writing on it. Okay, so if you need to pause the video, grab some paper, go ahead and do that. Okay, so now that you have your paper, I want you to take your piece of paper and I want you to hold it landscape style. This is portrait style, this is landscape style. And I want you to go ahead and I want you to fold it in half. We're actually going to do some cutting, okay? I'm really good at tearing paper. If you're not so good at tearing paper, you might want to get a pair of scissors. Make a really nice, good crease because this is where you're going to tear it, or again, get a pair of scissors. So again, if you need to pause this video, go ahead and do that. And I am going to go ahead and tear this right down so that I have a nice strip like this, okay? And now I'm going to take both of these pieces of paper and I can stack them on top of each other and do them both at the same time. Or if you're better at doing them separately, you might want to do them separately, okay? So then you're going to fold them again in half so that you're just making narrow strips. What I need you to have are several narrow strips of paper, okay? So you're going to, again, do a nice crease in there like that, and then you are going to tear them or cut them right down that crease, okay? So you should be able to get 4 strips of paper out of 1 piece of computer paper, okay? Now, you're actually going to need more than that, so go ahead and do the same thing to a second sheet of paper, okay? You are going to, again, fold it in half, landscape style, so it's landscape. You're going to fold it in half, so it kind of looks like a hot dog, a long hot dog. Nice crease, 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 so that you can tear it or cut it. And then again, take those 2 pieces and fold them in half like long hot dogs. Nice crease, crease, crease. And then tear or cut those, okay? So altogether, you should have 8 strips of paper. Now, you're not going to need all 8 strips, but they sure will come in handy just in case you kind of mess up on this next part, okay? Now, I'm going to go ahead and use different colored strips, which I don't even know if the colors will show up on the camera or not, but that's what I am going to do, okay? Okay, I decided to turn on my light. I thought maybe that might help matters a little bit. All right, so you are going to take 1 strip of your paper, okay, and you are going to fold it in half. Now we're going to fold it in half this way, okay? Now, when you folded it in half, make a nice crease there, and then open it up and take your pencil and go ahead and trace that crease. Okay, and now how many parts did you cut this piece of paper into? You cut it into 2 parts, right? So what do we call each part? This is 1 out of 2, and this is 1 out of 2. So what's another word for 1 out of 2? It's a fraction word, 1/2, right? So you are going to label each part 1/2. So you're going to put 1/2 and 1/2. Okay, then you're going to set that strip of paper aside and you're going to grab another strip of paper. Now you're going to do the same thing. You're going to fold it in half, but this time while you have it folded in half, you are going to fold it in half again. All right, and now you are going to open it up, count your sections. You now have this same strip, same size strip, fold it into 4 pieces. I want you to go ahead, take your pencil, and trace those creases just like you did with the last one. Okay, and again, you have them. You have now 4 equal pieces. What would we call each piece? This is 1 out of 4, 1 out of 4, 1 out of 4, 1 out of 4. What can we call that as a fraction word? That is 1/4, right? 1/4. So you're going to go ahead and label each section with a 1/4. Okay, so it'll look like this. 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. Now, boys and girls, always, you know, if you need time to catch up, you can always pause the video. You know that by now, right? All right, we are going to grab another strip of paper. We are going to fold it in half. You will fold it in half again. And one more time, you are going to fold it in half again. Now make sure you are folding it in half the same direction every single time because you want all of your sections to be going the same direction. Okay, so this is where sometimes boys and girls mess up and need to get another sheet of paper. Go ahead again and take your pencil and trace over all of your folds and then count them and see how many parts this strip is divided into. Okay, so all of your strips should be going like this. And if I count my sections, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I now have 8 equal sections on this strip of paper. So each section is called what? Well, this is 1 out of 8, 1 out of 8, 1 out of 8, 1 out of 8. Okay, you get the picture? And so that is 1/8. So you are going to go through and you are going to label each of those sections with 1/8. Okay, so it's going to look like this all the way down through. So go ahead and do that. All right, now it's going to start getting a little tricky. Okay? We are now going to take this strip of paper and we are going to fold it into thirds. Now, if you happen to have a ruler, that might help you just a little bit. I'm going to pause the video and grab a ruler for myself. Okay, so now this strip is 11 inches long. If we take 11 inches and divide it into thirds, it comes out about 3 2/3. Now that's going to be way too crazy for you guys to figure out on your ruler, but here's what I want you to do, and it's going to be as close as possible. If you use a ruler on your inch side, you are going to go to about 3 and let's say 3/4. So here's 3 1/2, here's 3 3/4. So you're going to go 3 3/4 and make a mark. Okay. So I'm going to do that on my paper. Turn around and do the other direction here. Okay, 3 3/4, maybe just a tiny bit less than 3 3/4, just a tiny bit. Okay, and I put a mark there. Now, if I take my ruler and set my ruler on that mark and go again about 3 3/4, maybe a tiny bit less, and make another mark. So I got a mark here and here. Then this should be about the same. That's going to be about as close as we can humanly get it. So then here's what I need you to do. When you make your folds, I need you to make your folds right at those dots. Okay, so this gets kind of tricky. So I'm going to make my folds so that it's right at that dot. And if you did it as close as possible, you should have been able to somewhat make that into thirds. I'm going to go ahead and trace my folds here so that you can kind of see it. It's not going to be perfect, guys, but it's going to be close enough. Okay, so now we divided this into thirds, 3 equal parts, as equal as we can make them. Okay, we're going to label each of those parts with our 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3. Ta-da! Okay. Now, last one that we're going to make. Grab another fraction strip. Now, this is going to be the important part, okay? You have to use your thirds to fold this one, okay? So you are going to lay this next strip right behind it, line them up nice and neat. I actually have another strip of paper behind that. And you're going to fold it into thirds, exactly the way you had your first thirds done. That's what's going to be important, that you use your thirds to make this one. Okay, so go ahead and get that folded. And now, here's what I want you to do. Now that you have it folded, take your thirds and set it aside. We don't want it folded inside of it anymore. Okay, so now we've got this new strip folded in thirds. Now, while it's folded into thirds, fold it in half. Okay, so you used your thirds to fold this into thirds. Then you took your thirds and folded it in half. Guess how many sections you're going to have? You take thirds and fold them in half. You're going to have 6 sections. Go ahead and use your pencil to highlight or trace, I guess, not highlight, I don't know, those sections. So now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We divided this strip into 6, and you are going to label them 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, all the way down. Keep doing that. All right, so now, boys and girls, what you just made is you made a math tool. These are called fraction strips, and we are going to be able to use these fraction strips to help us with our fraction lesson. Okay, so you just built your own math tool at home. All right, I'm going to go ahead now and stop this video, and I'm going to move on to my Smartboard screen and do part 2 of this lesson. All right, catch you soon.